last studio online. My name is Jessie. I'm going to be teaching you this painting here called Mushroom Grove. It's a bit more stylized, so we're going to have some fun with that. That being said, if there's anything you want to change about this painting, guys, if you don't like, the type of mushroom, if you don't like anything else, the colors about it, totally feel free to change it. This is your painting, guys. We want it to be exactly how you want it. We also have some supplies here that you should know about. So you've got your large flat brush here, got your medium flat brush, your medium round brush, and your tiny detail brush. You should have a roll of 4 different types of brushes that we're going to be using. You also have this nice little water cup, and we're going to go ahead and put those right in there, brush side down. This is a good little home base for them for whenever you're not using them. Keeps them from drying out. It's also great for washing off your brushes if you need to change colors. Then you also got this handy dandy little rag that's great for drying off your brush once you have washed it. So we'll be using all of those. I'll be telling you which brush we're going to be using for which part of our painting. And since this is a video, guys, if there's at any point you need to pause the video to go get something, to get a beverage, hopefully, to let the paint dry, you guys definitely feel free to just pause the video, and then whenever you're ready to get painting again, you can just unpause it. So that being said, we're going to start with our background first, and that is just going to be a transition from kind of this darker purple, gets a little bit lighter in the middle, and then it goes to kind of a green. We're going to start actually in the middle with this medium purple color. So I'm going to grab my largest flat brush, that's this guy right here, and then I'm going to grab some blue, a little bit of red, and then some white. Lighten it up a bit. Feel free to take your time to get the exact purple you're looking for. Purple can be a tricky color. If you want it to be more of like a magenta, you can add more red. If you want it to be more of like an indigo, add more blue. But there I've got my kind of medium purple there. And I'm just going to bring this across kind of the center of my canvas. It's going to be a nice wide strip here. And I'm going to start by, I'm going to add a little bit of water, sorry. Just helps it spread better. We're going to start by going down. And about the bottom third, we're going to start to transition into kind of a teal color. So I'm going to transition into grass. So I'm not washing off my brush, but what I'm going to do is grab mostly blue and just a little bit of yellow. Mix those in my palette really quick. Now I've got this teal color right underneath my purple. I'm just going to go ahead and spread that on my canvas. And I'm going to blend it into that purple first. So I'm going to bring this color up a little bit into that purple. And then bring my brush stroke down to get a nice blend from purple to green. I'm going to take that green and then fill in the rest of the bottom of my canvas with that. Alright, so we got the bottom part there from purple to green, and then I'm going to wash my brush off. I'm going to dip back into that purple that I made, bring it up a little bit more, make sure it's still wet so that I can blend it in with a darker purple. So I'm just going to grab more blue and more red to get a darker purple. I'll just blend that. Oh, that's a little bit too blue. There we go. Just blend that into that lighter purple. Bring that color down. then bring it back up, back and forth till I get that nice blend that I want. And then I'll just go ahead and cover the rest of my canvas in that dark purple. I'll just mix those colors in a little bit better by doing some X shapes. And there you go. I've got my nice blend from dark purple to lighter medium purple and then to green. Yeah. Okay. So I know we just started, but we do want to let this dry before we start in on our grass and all that stuff. So let's take a little 5-10 minute break, pause the video, and then whenever this is nice and dry, you can unpause it and then we'll get started on the next step. Guys, now that this is all nice and dry, we're going to go in and start to add these blades of grass you see in the background. So I'm going to grab my medium round brush here and we're going to use that same teal that we made for the background and we're just going to add a little bit of white to it. So I'm going to grab more of this color and then some white. Alright, and I've got my teal there, it's just a bit lighter than the background. We're going to go ahead and add some really tall blades of grass first, and these can be ones that are just like leaning, they can be bent, they can be straight, however you want them to look. Feel free to do so, but I'm just going to make some strokes in any manner that I see fit. I'm having these kind of come off of mostly the bottom of the canvas, but you can have some that are a little bit farther back, so it looks like there's a little bit of depth to your painting. Alright, now it's a little hard to see here, but I've got my blades of grass in there. And now I'm going to go in and add a little bit of a highlight so you can see those just a bit better. So I'm just going to grab some more white into my teal. Now I've got a later version of it. I'm just going to go in and kind of highlight my blades of grass so you can see them just a bit better. Blades highlights don't have to cover every part of your blades of grass. It's nice to have a little bit of shadow to them as well. And plus you don't want to cover up all that hard work you just did on that teal. So I'm just kind of highlighting my blades of grass with this color. Alright, so there's my grass here. Now we're going to go in and add all these little, they're yellow right now and they're going to be yellow when they're finished, but we want to start with them as little white dots. So you can see that they're little white dots with some kind of lines that radiate around them. And they're supposed to be fireflies. That's kind of the goal here. So I am going to switch to my detail brush. And we'll get to those fireflies in a couple of seconds. Alrighty guys, so our fireflies are going to start out, like I said, with just pure white. And I'm using my small detail brush and I'm going to dip into pure white. And first I'm just going to kind of place them on my canvas. So I'm going to place the dots first and then I'll go around and add those little lines around them. You can see that some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, so feel free to kind of vary the size and placement of all of your fireflies. Alright, so those are all the dots of where my fireflies are going to be. Now we're just going to go around and add some lines that are kind of orbiting, I guess, around those little dots. Get a little bit less paint on my brush so it can be pointier. You can do as much or as little of this as you want. I just like how it looks. And if it helps, I like to rest my wrist on the canvas to give it a little bit more stability. So if you need to do that, feel free to do so. Right. Now we've got all of our fireflies on there. We can go ahead, once this is all dry, and start putting in the shapes of our mushrooms. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Alrighty guys, so now once all of our background stuff is done, we're going to go in and do the shape of our mushrooms here. So we're going to start with just this kind of grayish eggshell color we've got here on the stem of the mushroom. We're just going to start by filling in the whole thing with that color, just to get a nice light base on this dark background. Right. So I'm grabbing my medium round brush. It's great for sketching out shapes, at least I think it is. And then I'm gonna grab a bunch of white, a little bit of yellow, and then just the smallest, minuscule amount of black. You really want to be careful when you're adding black to any color, because if you add too much, it'll turn gray and weird. You don't want that. So I just added a tiny bit, and I've got this kind of dull eggshell color that we want. Now I'm going to start by sketching out the cap of our largest mushroom. I'll start with the top of it here. Kind of, oh, it's like a bell shape. That's a good descriptor. So it's kind of like a bell shape where it is thinner on top and then it kind of swoops down and out just a little bit. And then it just comes around the bottom like that. So we'll fill that in a couple of minutes, but first I want to get the stem down as well. So we'll just mark that out. That's where the inside will be. We'll mark down this. This also gets wider at the bottom and is thinner at the top. So we'll do that. Kind of curves. It doesn't go all the way off the canvas, but pretty darn close. Now that I've got that all outlined in, I can fill it in. Alright, here's our first little mushroom shape. Now we're going to go in and sketch the other ones. Now this one is in front, so we'll have some overlapping as well as this one. We won't worry about that now, we'll just sketch them out. So we'll start with the bottom of this one here on the right. It's a bit smaller. Start with the curved bottom part. And the top. little cap of it. Again, it goes into our bigger mushroom, so I'll just kind of decide where I want that to be so I can fill that in later. Alright. And then our last mushroom off to the left is going to be behind our bigger one. So I'm just going to have the stem kind of coming out from behind our bigger one. Yeah. And then the cap. Now on this one it does not overlap, but I'm probably going to have it overlap on mine, and that's not a big issue. If you guys end up making them too big, you could just overlap them. That's okay. Alright, now we definitely want this all to dry before we start going in with other colors, so feel free to let it dry. If you need another coat on it, go for it, but we want to make sure this is completely dry before going in with all these other colors. So if you need to, just pause the video, let it dry, and then whenever you're ready to come back and continue, just unpause it and we'll get started. Guys, now that this is all dry, we're going to go in and just color the kind of pinkish part here of the caps of our mushrooms. So I'm going to grab my medium round brush again. We're going to make this kind of pinkish color here. So I'm going to grab some red and some white. Probably need to make quite a bit of this color. We're covering a lot of area with it. Now I've got my pink right there. And the first thing we're going to do is this one right here, since he's in front. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to first outline where I want the top of his cap to be. So it kind of flows into the rest of the mushroom that we had made earlier. And then we want to make sure that we leave kind of this circle for the inside of the cap and then a place for the stem to come down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the bottom here just a little bit. Leave enough room for my stem to come through. And then on top, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of a curve. There, I have kind of my oval shape in there for where I want the underside of my cap to be, like that. Once I have all of that, I can just fill the rest of this in. Just like that. And then we'll go ahead and do that for this big one here as well. So I'll leave enough space for the stem at the bottom. We don't really need to worry about this side as much since it is being overlapped by the mushroom in front, but I'll just make that circle. Kind of just gets overlapped again by the one in the front. We have that. And I'll just fill the rest of this in. Well, don't worry if you feel like you lost the shape of the one in front again. We will go ahead and do outlines on all these towards the end. We've got some purple in there, it's fine. Again, if your edges aren't completely perfect on these, that's okay. We're going to go and outline them towards the end, so that'll be okay. And then, last but not least, we'll do the mushroom in the back. Same dealy. Leave enough space at the bottom for the stem. Outline the circle on top. And then fill it in. Okay, now we've filled those in. We're going to go ahead and move back down to the stem. You can see there's just a little bit of a highlight here. In the center of our stem, you can see it's just a little bit whiter. So we'll just add that really quick by taking just pure white, kind of streaking this down the center. Just do that to the little ones as well. There we go. Now while that's all still drying, we can go ahead and start to color in the fireflies in our background. And to color the fireflies here, we're just going to take a medium round brush, make sure it's washed out really good. And we're just going to take pure yellow. What we're going to do is just completely cover that whole area with yellow. And I'm just covering the whole thing. You know, I'm not like trying to cover only like the circle and the individual lines. I'm just going over the whole thing because it adds a nice little glow. So just around each little firefly area. Okay. Now that that's on there, we're going to take another short little 5-minute break just to let all of this dry before we go in and add all the spots, the outlines, and then the grass in the front. So go ahead, pause the video for a couple minutes, let this dry, and then whenever you're ready to finish up the painting, we will get started again. Alrighty guys, now this is all dry, we're going to go in and add these little white dots to our mushroom caps. If you want to add different colored dots, feel free to go for it. I'm just going to do white. So I'm going to take my detail brush and just pure white. I'll just start to add these little ovals onto my cap. I can vary them in size and placement. Right. Now we've got all the spots on there. We're going to go ahead and do all the outlines here on our mushroom. Now, it's not quite black. You can see it's kind of like a similar shade of purple to the background. Like a dark purple thing going on. So I'm going to grab some blue. Still using my detail brush, and I'm going to grab some red. Right. Now that I've got my purple, we're going to go ahead and outline all these shapes. Now the only thing you guys really need to kind of figure out how to do is the cap and where it meets the stem on the inside there. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to outline the top of the stem. So it's just like a rounded top like that. And then I'll outline the inside of the cap here as well. And on the inside, you've got these lines that kind of curve outwards from the center of the stem here, and then they kind of meet along the edges of this oval here in kind of a radial pattern. So I'll just like that. There we go. And then I will just do that to all of these. Then the rest of the outline is pretty simple enough. You just gotta outline the edges of the cap and the stem. Helps kind of clean those edges up. Now I know it looks kind of, the line disappears a little bit when it reaches the purple, but it still helps clean those edges up, so I would outline all of it. Alright, so our outlining is done. Our last step is just, hold on, sorry. Is just to do the grass in front of our mushrooms. And so it's gonna happen kind of the same way we did it before. So we're just gonna get some green. Pretty dark green at first. We'll just do a few strands of this kind of in front of our mushrooms so they kind of overlap. The bottoms there, kind of make them look like they're nestled in the grass as opposed to sitting in front of them. Makes them look a little bit more part of the scenery. And then, just like before, we'll add some whites to our color and add highlights to the grass. And there you have it. You've got your little mushroom grove. So our last step here, our very last unofficial step, is to sign your painting. And so we'll do that with our detail brush, and either black or white usually works best. I'm going to use white so it'll have some nice contrast. So I just dip my detail brush in white and put my initials in the bottom right hand corner. Just like that, so everyone knows that this is my painting. I hope you guys sign yours so that everyone knows it is the best thing you painted all day, because I'm sure it is. I would love to see all your guys' creations, so if you want to tag us on Facebook or Instagram so we can see all of the pictures of you guys in your paintings, we'd love to see them, so tag us in it at Splash Studio. And but yeah, that's really all I have for you, so thank you guys for joining me here on Splash Studio Online. Hope you're staying safe and healthy out there, and I hope to see you again.